What is up everybody, my name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be slightly shorter and slightly different to the previous videos we've done recently, just because I haven't got much time. It's 1 o'clock in the morning already and I need to go to bed for work in the morning. So this one I'm actually going to focus on CSS, do some little animation stuff with this little hamburger menu. Actually, when I hover it, it does this little slight tilt, and then when I click it, it does a spin and turns into an X. We're going to have to, just a little thing, just a little home button about services. These do nothing. And it, as you can see, if we shrink it down, it is mobile responsive. It doesn't matter if you're on mobile or on your desktop, this will work regardless. So hopefully this is something you guys will find useful and something fun. It's more of a little fun, nice visual thing to do for your website. This is pure CSS as well, so I won't be using any like JavaScript or anything like that. This just could be a pure CSS tutorial. So let's get straight into it. So I'm going to cd into, oh, that was wrong project, 100 code, make directory. We're going to go day 66 now. Wow. Backslash there. And it's going to be hamburger, cd to day 66. And let's say make the hamburger. Makes me hungry saying that. Cool, so let's open this up in Visual Studio Code. Just going to do code start, open this up in whatever you like if you're following along. Let's now bring this right up. So, bam. And let's create an index.html file. Let's also quickly create a main.css. We're just going to be using CSS and not Sass today. I'm going to be using variables in CSS as well. So if you don't know about those, it's a good place to learn. Let's use Emmet to create this boilerplate, and let's call this Hamburger Menu. And then let's link our CSS. So let's link and we'll go main.css. And in the body, we're just going to say hello world. Now, to run this, I have something called LiveSurf installed. To install LiveSurf, all you do is run npm i-g LiveSurfer, and you can do exactly what I do, but this requires you to have Node installed. So if you don't have Node installed, I suggest you look that up. So for now, I'm just going to say LiveSurfer, and bam, it hot reloads. Every time I change something, hit save, it will reload for me, so we don't need to mess around with refreshing the page all the time, because I know how much of a ball ache that is. Okay, let me just roll my sleeves back, sorry about that. So now we have this, let's create the markup, and the markup is quite simple. We're going to have a wrapper, which I'm just going to call the page. I'm then going to create a menu wrapper, which will have all the menu items in, such as the hamburger menu and everything else. Now, for this to work, so for the functionality to work, we're not using JavaScript. So instead, we're going to be using a input. So it's going to be a checkbox. So we're going to say input checkbox, and we don't need an ID or a name. We just need a class, and I'm going to give this a class of toggle, because it's going to toggle our menu. This is going to be completely hidden, this checkbox, once we're done with it. So for now, if we save, you'll see it's a checkbox, but we're going to completely hide it when we are done. So let's create a new div called hamburger, not hamburger. Hamburger. Okay, now let's create something called a bar, because there's going to be the bars you see inside of the hamburger menu, the 3 bar item. So these are all wrappers. Let's split up the code a little to make it easier to read. Okay, now we've got that, let's create the actual menu. So this is going to be the menu that overlays on top. So let's do a menu. It's going to be an UI with an li 4 times. We'll say home, about, surfaces, oh god, hello, and contact. Very simple. Again, this is all going to be styled up in the back end, so I think it looks beautiful, but you know, most people would disagree with me, for good reasons. I hope I've zoomed in enough for you to read this as well. I don't need that. Maybe I'll go in one more. Oh god, that's quite zoomed in, but we'll stick with it. We're going to say div content. Oh no. We're going to say content. We're then going to give this a h1, and we're going to say hamburger, or just hamburger. We're then going to have a span, which is going to say menu, because I like doing this little trick here. and that'll be good. And then underneath we'll have a paragraph of Lauren with 50 characters. And that'll do. Actually, you know what? I think 50 might be too much. We'll say 30. A bit smaller. We don't need that much information on our website, especially not on a landing page anyway. Just short and snappy, show it off, and that's all we need. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. I feel that's too big, too close. Oh, and that should just be menu. Okay, nice. So now we've got the structure down. This is all we need. So the main important parts for this is going to be the menu wrapper, which has all the menu items in. The content can be placed anywhere on the page, of course, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's move over to the main CSS, and now I'm going to teach you how to use CSS variables. So like Sass variables, slightly different, but it's kind of like Sass variables. So first we have to call the root elements. We need to say root, and basically we need to declare on the root our variables. And to do that, we do 2 hyphens, and that stands for a variable, and then you give it your name. So this variable is going to be called primary, and then you give it a value. So this could be, let's say, 768 pixels. This can be a color, or so forth, and we're going to use it as a color. I'm then going to say secondary, which is going to be another color, and I think that is it for the, oh, and we need light, which is also F3, 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 solid. So now once you've got that, let's add some default styling into the body. So we're going to set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0. We're going to add a background color of fair. So this is how you now use your variable. So you do a var and you give it the name, and we're going to give it light. Actually, to be fair, it should be secondary. So we're going to give it secondary, and then we're going to give it a font family, and let's create a font family up here. So we're going to call it font stack, and we're going to set it to equal to Roboto, Helvetica, and sans serif. Oh, that's just sans. We don't want that. We want sans serif. Cool. And then this can also use a variable called font stack. Now, if we save, as you can see, everything has changed, the font and the background color. Cool, although this looks ugly, so let's style this up. So we're going to give the page a width of 100 VW, a height of 100 V height, a background color. Actually, we don't need a background color before we sell it. We'll display this as flex so we can move our items around a bit easier on screen. And then with the flex, we want to justify content center and align item center. We're then going to say its position relative, and it's going to have 15 pixels padding with a box sizing of border box to stop it from overflowing. There we go. That is that done. Next up, let's do the content. So we're going to go page.content. Actually, we could just say .content. We're then just going to give this one a width 100%, but a max width of 768 pixels. And the reason I'm doing the 768 pixels is because basically when we stretch this out, we don't want it to fully go all the way across. So as you can see, it now stays in the center at 768 pixels. Cool, so now let's do the H1. We're going to give it a color with the variable of primary. We're then going to give a font size of 42 pixels, a font weight of 900, and a text align of center. We're then going to go H1 span and give this a color of the variable of light and a font weight of 300. There we go, nice. Slightly off, but it'll fix once we move this stuff out of the way. In theory, this is center with the actual content there. So H1, and let's do the paragraph, which we're just going to set the color equal to the variable of light. There we go, nice. Now let's move out this left content out of the way. Let's set it to a position of fixed because we will always want it to be on the page, and we're going to say top 15 pixels, left 15 pixels, width of 50 pixels and height of 50 pixels, and then we're going to give it a box sizing of border box. Hit save, and actually that's now moved out of the way and this has aligned itself correctly. I hope you're following along quite easily. So next up, we want to get the menu wrapper, but we want to get the toggle inside of the menu wrapper. So this is what this denotes here. If you hover over it in VS Code, it will tell you how the elements will look on page. And let's give this a width of 50 pixels, a height of 50. Actually, we'll give it 100%. I don't think that'll break it too much. Too much, he says. Position, absolute, and let's give it a top of 0, a left of 0, a right of 0, and a bottom of 0. And in that case, actually, we might be able to remove the defined width and height. We'll give this a C index of 999 because the toggle, the actual toggle, needs to be at the very front of the app so we can tick it very easily. So it needs to be at the very front, else what's the point of ticking it? After that, we can now go, oh, actually we need to say display. Oh, no we don't. Let's move on from this. We now need the menu wrapper.hamburger, which is the hamburger menu we're going to be creating. We're going to give this a width of 100% and a height of actually, you know, we don't need a width and height again because I'm going to be setting the position to absolute. So absolute positioning, we're going to set top to 0, left to 0, right to, you guessed it, 0, and bottom also 0. We're going to give it a C index of 998 pixels, or just 998, because we want it to be just behind the C index, or the toggle. We're going to display this one as flex. We're going to justify content center and align item center. Now all this alignment and stuff is really it's essential because when we go to actually create the animations and stuff, this will keep it all in the center and not to stray away and make it harder for ourselves. We don't want to say box sizing, not box shadow, box sizing of border box because we are about to add a padding of 10 pixels and we're going to set a transition. And what transition does is allow animations to work. So we're going to set this equal to a 0.3 and ease. The reason we're setting it to all is so we can, because we want to affect more than just one property, but we also don't want to have to define this multiple times. We're then going to set it equal for this transition to last 3 seconds, and it's going to use the timing function of ease. So if we hit save, nothing should happen still yet. And as you can see, nothing does happen, although my toggle seems to have broken a little. So we're going to give this a cursor of pointer just so I can see where it is at. Now it's only that, which is really annoying. But anyway, let's have a look. So we actually need to set the opacity of this to 0 because we don't actually want to see the toggle, the actual input value. We're also just going to set the width to 50 pixels and the height to 50 pixels because I think that will allow, yeah, there you go. So it gives it a better area of effect. Let's continue working. So on this one, let's also give it the width of 50 pixels and a height of 50 pixels. We just want to make sure everything's defined already. Now let's copy this and let's do our bar. So the bar is going to be one of the 3 Hamburger Menu bars. And in this, we're going to set the position to relative, the width to 100%, the height is going to be equal to 3 pixels, and the background is going to be equal to the light variable. And we're going to add a transition to this, which is only going to transition opacity. Actually, you know what, we don't need that right now. So as you can see, we've got this bar, but I'm going to quickly hide inside here the menu because it's showing up behind the stuff and we don't want that. There we go. We've now got 1 bar, but we need 3, and we only, in the HTML, we've only set 1 bar. So how are we going to get 3? the way we do this is using a property called before and after. So if I copy this, and here we go before, and then we do the exact same thing, but we call after. And now this is going to affect the before and after properties. We want to set the content equal to nothing because we don't want any white space or anything, but we also want content to display, or we want the item to display. We want to set position equal to absolute. Why do we have an error? Oh, there we go. There was a comma after, which there shouldn't have been. Give this a C index of 1, or maybe like 5. This probably go on this actually. A top of -10 pixels, a width of 100%, height of 3 pixels, and the background is going to be equal to a variable of light. We're now going to also, so now we've got 2 bars. The third bar is up here with the other bar. So now what we need to do is grab the after bar and actually set the top equal to 10 pixels. There we go. Now as you can see, we now have the 3 bars all set out ready for us to animate. So now we've got that done, let's start adding some animations. The first animation I'm going to add is to the hamburger menu. So we're going to say menu-wrapper.toggle, and then we're going to say hover. We're then going to do this plus symbol dot hamburger. Now what the plus symbol means is it's going to look for the next, if we hover over this, you'll see. So it'll look for the hamburger menu next to the toggle class with a hover effect, and that is how that works. We're then going to set a transform rotate of -25 degrees, because this works in degrees and nothing else. We're going to say background, and we're going to set this equal to an RGBA value, which is going to be 255, 255, 255, 0.1. Now, if we hover this, you'll see the little effect. It's now a square effect, which rotates a little. But we want to add a border radius of 50% to this. So now, when we hover, you'll see it adds this little effect where it turns from a square into a circle, and it wraps itself around, which looks kind of nice. I like that already. So let's continue. Once we have added the hover effect, we then want to add the checked effect. So let's copy the exact same thing and we change this to checked. Now, under checked, we want to say transform rotate, and we're just going to set this equal to 45 degrees. Now, obviously it was already checked there, so if we refresh, there we go, nothing is checked. Let's close that. And if I now take this, as you can see, it does like a little bounce as well, which I really like. So, as you can see, it's all working good. All right, now we've got the hamburger checked animation going. We now want to do a animation for when the menu is checked and sitting like this, because basically what we want it to do when we're like this is we're wanting it to turn into an X, right? We want to turn it into an X. Now, to do that, we need to get this property here when we're hovering the checked, but we also want to set bar, and we want to get the after or the before and the after. Now, what we want to do is set top equal to 0, because we want it to position in the center of the middle bar. And then we want to set the transform equal to rotate 90 degrees, because we want both bars to turn, as you can see, 90 degrees onto each other. Now, as you can see, when we click, it transforms, but it doesn't animate the transform, which we do want. So let's find this bar and see if we can add some animation to this. So let's say transition, all 0.2 seconds linear. Now, it's still quite a rapid change. It doesn't change too much, but I'm kind of happy with that. To transform, rotate, maybe we have to animate the before and after. Maybe let's see if we add this here. There you go. So now you can see the actual animation where the bars are twisting on top of each other to create this cross effect. Very nice. Now, after we have set up this, the last thing we want to do is add a hover state to the once it's been checked. So to do that, again, all we do is get this same one here. We go down and we attach a hover pseudo element or pseudo class or pseudo selector. I don't know. I think it's pseudo selector on the back of this toggle checked value. And then we can add in a second piece of behavior, such as we want to rotate it instead of 45, we want to send it a whole 135 degrees. So now when we hover and we touch, there you go. So now when we hover it, even though it's already checked, it does the animation too. So now it feels a little bit more bouncy and a little bit more fun to use, which is really fun and really awesome to do. Okay, now that is done, we now need to animate the menu, which we disabled. So let's re-enable this. There it is, and let's say menu. We're going to give it a position of fixed, just like the hamburger menu. We're going to set the top equal to 0 and the left equal to 0. And the reason we're not setting bottom and right is because we want it to start in the top and then grow outwards. So we're going to set a opacity of 0 because we want it to be invisible to start with. We're then going to say a width of 0 and a height of 0, and then we're going to set overflow hidden because we don't want it to be seen. We're then going to say background, and we're going to set this to another RGBA value, which is going to be a very dark grey, and it's going to be 8.5. But again, this is invisible right now, so it's not too much to do. We're going to set C index of 1 and a transition of all 0.5 sec or 0.3 seconds linear, or ease. We'll do ease for this one. We're going to display flex, justify content center, and align items center, so it all looks nice. Now it's gone, so that's fine. We then want to style up the actual list element in there. So we're just going to say the color is going to be equal to our variable of light. The font size equal to 20 pixels. List style type is going to be equal to none because we don't want any list items. We're going to say text aligned center. Margin 0. Cursor, pointer, box sizing, again 15 pixels, and a border bottom of 2 pixels solid transparent. Now the reason they're transparent is because we don't actually want the border. This is just a placeholder, so when we hover the buttons it doesn't break. Now if we go dot menu ul li hover, we want to set the color to our primary variable, and we want to set the border bottom to 2 pixels solid, and this time instead of being transparent we want to set it to be our brand color. And I believe I don't know if this is possible. Let's try do this. Nice. But now we want to basically say menu wrapper dot toggle checked plus dot hamburger, but then we also want to say, so not just next to the hamburger, we want to say next to the menu, we're going to set the opacity equal to 1, the width to 100 VH, and the height equal to 100 vertical height, or viewport height. Now if we click this, as you can see, it pops out. I'm noticing something wrong here because we set align, max width, height 0. Oh, no, that seems right. That is right if it's not central, which kind of bugs me a little. But nonetheless, it works. And this is the hover. So we've got the about, the home, the about, the services, and the contact page. The animation on the button is nice, smooth, and fancy. So you don't have to worry too much about functionality with this. Just the looks look really great. And as you can see, you can do this without any JavaScript whatsoever, which is an amazing bonus. So again, I did say this was going to be a short video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's make this large again so we can see the little animation of the bar. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more, then leave a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to get and hit that bell to get notified as soon as we go live, or when we go live, or we post a new video or anything like that. Anyway, guys, so if you have any comments or feedback, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget, the link for this will be in GitHub, or the code for this will be up on GitHub if you want to check out. Link will be in the description. Anything for that, guys, just drop me a message on Discord or drop me a message in comments, and I'll try and get back to you as quick as possible. I'm sorry this was a short video and not like the usual, but I feel like these videos sometimes do quite well. Yes, I said do. It wasn't that funny. Alright, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and peace out until next time.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along, push myself.